Hello music lovers, welcome to my channel. My name is Caesar Pink.
Let your mama down. Let your mama down. Let your mama down. Baby, please.
Today we're here with my guest, Will Markley. He's a musician, songwriter, many other things, a producer. And he's going to introduce me to an artist and a song I've never heard before. But before we get started, please like and subscribe. All the proceeds from this channel are donated to the Arete Living Arts Foundation. Arete Living Arts is a nonprofit that supports art and artists, and our mission is to promote arts that inspire personal, political, or spiritual awakening. So please like and subscribe. That helps us build our channel. Or if you'd like to do more, join our Patreon page, or you can make a one-time tax-deductible donation through the link below in the description. So what have we got here, Will?
So this is The Other Lives, which is a band from Stillwater, Oklahoma, which is once again like small town, rural United States, and but it's a bit of a college town from my understanding. I've ever spent any amount of time there, but what I'll say is that my dear friend Ben Sperry, who's a visual artist, he went on a cross-country trip for his honeymoon with his wife, newlywed wife, and they went across the country, and on their travels, they stayed a night in this town called Perry, Oklahoma, and they fell in love with it, and they thought, I could live here. Like, this might be nice, like this might be fun to live here for a little while. And so his wife Casey got a job at the YMCA, and Ben got a job at the local gas station. I mean, there's like 5 jobs there basically, like you don't have a lot of options if you want to live in Perry, Oklahoma. You're going to work at the bar, you're going to work at the church, you're going to work at the Y, you're going to work at the gas station. That's pretty much it. I actually maybe exaggerate with 5. There might only be 4. Stillwater is about 30-minute drive proximity to Perry, Oklahoma. And he did a gallery showing out there. And while he was out there, he met up with a group of musicians who were kind of like putting together this band, and they were kind of like up and coming. And it's funny how many great bands come from the state of Oklahoma. Like, if you get a chance to look it up, like there's so many amazing bands that come from Oklahoma. But which I think goes back to the point I was saying earlier, where it's like I feel like the neglect, it kind of separates, where it's just like, do you want to do this or do you not want to do this? Because if you do, then that's all. You're just going to shut down, you're going to shut in, and you're just going to take off, and you're just going to push. And then eventually you'll either become famous in your own right, move to New York, move to LA, whatever. But like, I think honestly it's formidable, like breeding grounds for great creativity, because there's no distractions. Right? It's right there. But there's also like beauty all around you, right? Like all the trees, all the nature, like everything is gorgeous. But nobody's like, oh, do you want to do this job? Do you want to do that job? It's like you have 4 jobs to choose from, or you could be a successful artist. How do you like the sound of that? So you anyways, these guys push forward, and super talented dudes. I met them. I probably spent like 3 hours with them, and I was immediately in love with their creativity and their connectivity with just like being personalized, like human beings,
Now, what time period is this video from?
So this video came out in 2011. And I would have went out to see Ben probably around 2009. So these songs were at birth at that time, and so they were in. They had already met fruition, but they were kind of like the path was being spawned right then, right? So, but yeah, then I didn't even know there was like that deep of a relationship formed. And then a year later, Ben says, "Hey, you know what? They used one of my pieces at the gallery showing. They asked if they could use it for their record cover."
Huh.
And so they did, and they used it. And then a couple years later after that, after the record release, they went on and they toured with Radiohead. They opened up for Radiohead. And I mean, I don't know about you, but in my eyes, like if you opened up for Radiohead, you're doing pretty fucking good. So,
And where are they kind of at? Did they break through commercially, or?
I don't know where they're at right now. And you know, to be honest, and not to condescend your question at all, but I feel like in this day and age, I don't really think about that a lot. I think about like, are you putting out good art, or are you putting out more homogenized crap?
Yeah, which is the only thing that's kind of breaks through anymore.
Yeah,
Commercially,
basically,
that is.
And so, in this case, I feel like this record. And to be truthful with you, I haven't done like a full, like, track 1 to track X. I've never done that with any of their other albums. But I do that constantly with this album because I really, really think that it is like a incredible piece of artwork. And everything came together so serendipitously, like so perfectly in that moment. And I just feel so touched that I got to watch the conversations happen back and forth. I saw the visual artists. I got to meet the band, and they were all talking together, and they were all meeting. And I just so happened to be there on a week visit with my buddy, where I was like, "Yeah, you got a gallery showing. I want to come out." I got to see a hailstorm. I got to see this band, meet this band. I got to see them meet each other, and it all just kind of happened from there. So it was really incredible. So there's that, but I want to backtrack and say that actually has nothing to do with why I picked this, because there were years and years passed until I saw this music video, and then it just so happened to become my top 5 favorite music videos I've ever seen in my entire life. For so many reasons. I mean, I'm a very emotional person. I think that's why I'm a musician. That's why I'm an artist or whatever. But I'm going to try really hard to not well up a little bit whenever this music video plays, because as many pauses as we do, it'll help me kind of pace myself. But there's something. One of the main things I want to bring to the attention of the audience with this is that there's a true climax of this song. It raises and ebbs and flows, and then it just soars, and then it spikes way up, and that is something that I really, really, truly believe is missing from modern day music. Mm-hmm. There are emotional lyrics, and there are, like, we know how to manipulate chords and make them feel emotional from time to time and this and that, but like a movement in the body of the song and then a release. It's like, you talk about bands like Radiohead, Sigur Rós, things like that. Like, these guys still do this type of thing, but even like Radiohead, like, they do it in a much more computer-oriented, algorithmic, just kind of like premeditated way, as opposed to the emotion of a group of people playing in a room and then there's a crescendo and then bang, it happens. Mm-hmm. It's a very different experience. there's a humanity about it, and there's a love and a pain about it. And it's, I think it's important, and I think it's what the music industry is lacking right now.
Well, one thing with that is tempo shift these days is an absolute no-no. That's not allowed.
Everything's metronome.
But, tempo shifts, I think, are an important part of building excitement
Totally.
and emotion. But, well, let's take a listen to some of this.
Okay, sounds good.
So what is the song called?
It's called Dust Bowl 3.
Okay.
And it's by the band Other Lives.
Other Lives. Okay, here we go.
Look at that massive piece of artwork.
Now, is that your friend's artwork?
No. He did the artwork for the cover. This I researched it for probably 30 minutes because I couldn't figure it out, and I'm ashamed to admit that I don't remember the name of the artist, but I was thinking 1400s, 1500s, 1600s. This was in the early 1900s that this artwork was actually created. But there is a relevance to the title of this song and the artwork. But I won't talk at volume to that because I can't remember exactly what it was. So
Here we go.
On the forest way, sky does not seem too early today. Feels it flow whenever turning back again. Line returns
What? You go for it.
So, to me, right now, what we see is one would suggest a schizophrenic, mentally ill person walking down the streets of like a very populated city and going through delusions in his mind, talking to himself, doing these like very like archetypical like symptoms of such disease, right? But we also see in just the scene before him touch this painting where it moves him and it talks to him. And so like immediately to me, there's this struggle of like, what's real and what's not real? Like, is what this guy feeling actually more real than what everybody else who's all walking around, robots, looking at their phone, city life, like they're just ignoring reality right and left. This guy's actually feeling it, like he feels so moved by this painting that he reaches out and he wants to touch it. And then like he's almost like quivers in the idea of like the reality of the painting. And now he's going out and he's like spouting all this chaos in his brain outside the museum. So that's where I'm left with at this point.
Don't start it yet.
No, please.
What I was thinking about when I watched it is how well they brought you into his interior world.
Right.
You know, you see him and then you see him look up at a statue and the things he's seeing. And that's like in the film world, that's a very hard thing to do, to bring the audience into the interior world like that. So that was the thing that, you know, I was focusing on when I watched it. And I didn't, you know, I saw him talking, and, you know, it wasn't him singing the vocals, and I was first a little confused, and then I noticed a thing in New York. It used to be when you saw people talking to themselves, you knew that they were like ill or homeless or whatever. But now, because of the phones and
Right.
ears,
Now
everybody's talking to themselves, and you're like, well,
what's what?
yeah. Anyways, well, let's go and.
Oh, I love that scene, actually. Let me just backtrack. Am I allowed to backtrack?
Yeah, go for it.
Just a little bit. So there's a really quick scene where he's like, it appears as though he's like kissing or sucking on the finger of another individual. And so there's like this past like inner struggle where it's just like, I can't get over this like awful pain that I'm going through emotionally, like through like separation anxiety.
Yeah, now that shot was the first time where I was like, oh, this guy's suffering, you know what I mean?
And they just drop them in slowly, and that's what's so brilliant about it. It's not like it doesn't just hit you over the head or
Yeah.
whatever. Like it's very subtle.
It's runs to
Only time there's lip syncing in the whole video. Just a one moment.
Get this weight off my shoulders. Found and I'll get this right off the wall. Is there anyone?
So
Get this
beautiful.
right off the wall.
And now we start to discuss like further to the depths of what I was talking about earlier, where it's like this culture where it's like, oh yeah, some guy just collapsed on the street. I guess I'm going to keep going about my day. Right? So it's like, who's crazy?
Yeah.
Is it this guy who's losing his mind from like emotional devastation? Or is it these people who are just walking by and being like, well, I got to make my 9 o'clock?
I have a few things. I had two experiences. One, this was back in Central PA. I was in a pet store, and all of a sudden my girlfriend like froze up and fell on the ground. And when she was laying, her legs were stiff, like, you know, up in the air. And there were a lot of people in line, and I'm like yelling, somebody call an ambulance, help. They just looked at us. Nobody did a thing.
Wow.
Many, this was, you know, maybe 13 years ago, which is a short time for me. I was in a movie theater. This was in Allentown. And I started having a panic attack, a bad one. And so I left the theater and was like trying to walk. And I ended up like collapsing in the lobby of the movie theater.
No way.
And I asked people for help, and they just, you know, looked at me and didn't do anything.
Unbelievable.
And those are life lessons. When you experience that, you know, you know.
It's a society we're living in, yeah.
But you know, when I got to New York, I was in kind of bad shape, and I'm walking the streets in winter looking for jobs. And I can remember it being cold one morning and feeling like hopeless and overwhelmed. And this was, I don't know, I forget, I think I was in Upper East Side, so there were a lot of people on the sidewalks. Anyways, this, I don't know what, this homeless guy, sick guy, something was, you know, laying on the sidewalk in this cold air, and I forget what he was doing, I forget the details, but I remember just like standing there and like watching the people go by and him and just being like, this is hell, you know what I mean? Like, it like touched me so, or touch me is not the right word, it like,
Moved you.
it was like,
Disturbed you.
yeah, disturbing. So, you know, like this humanity, and, you know, there's a concept that's been really important to my life that comes from Eastern philosophy. There's different words they use for it. The one I use the most is samsara, which means like standing back from all the things in life and, you know, just viewing things
Observing,
from a
yeah.
third eye.
Yeah, okay.
And it was one of those like moments of, but in darkness, not with any joy, that just chilled me to the bone. Anyways, shall we go on?
Yeah, no, sure. I would like to say though that we're at like the halfway mark. We're already 2 minutes and 32 seconds into the song.
Okay.
In a pop song, we'd already be through the second chorus. We've only had one chorus, and we're nowhere near the climax yet.
Interesting.
So this is like teaching patience back to the younger audience. Like, hey, we can still do this. Like, just fucking wait. Just wait.
Yeah.
It's going to pay off in the end. Like, you can wait 3.5 minutes for the for the climax or whatever, you know. So, comparison to the painting. Bridge. Somebody finally stops. Then there's an interesting shift. It's not pain. It's release from the pain. Seems like running from the pain. It's almost like he can't believe he got away with it.
Huh.
Right? So he's getting away from it. Is there any way? And it's just, he's moving on, and it's just like, you know, and through death is what this video is showing me. Through death is the escape of all the pain that is life, you know? Mm-hmm. I'll play if you don't have any.
No, go ahead and play.
Here comes the big payoff. And then it trickles out, just like a last breath does. It's perfect. It's beautiful. It's like such an incredible.
Now, what I would like to do is actually see if we can find the lyrics. I'd like to read those.
Sure, please, yeah. It's just such an incredible.
What are they called?
Matrimony of life. You know, like it's just so powerful.
What are they called? The band?
Other lives, yeah.
Their Lives. And the song was
Dust Bowl 3.
Yeah, I'm going to read some of these if you're cool with that.
Of course.
Land only for this fate. The skyline is not seen for many days. It feels as though we're never turning back here. The land returns to dust.
Chorus.
This is the chorus. Mm-hmm. Is there any way to get this weight off my skin and find another one? Is there any one to get this writing off the wall and find a new one and find? Just like the wind blows into the great unknown, we're on our way. We are on our way. moving west may bring us better days. We're on our way. We are on our way. Is there any way to get this weight off my skin and find another one? Is there anyone to get this writing off the wall, to find a new one and find... Is that it? I guess,
That's it.
wow.
Not much to it.
Yeah.
But it's so, like, palpable, like, emotion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I read this, what my first thought was that, I mean, to me the video was kind of literal in a way, so it was interesting to me that the lyrics were more abstract, but, you know, it's a neat combination of how to express these lyrics visually.
Well, it's funny with the music biz these days. They, you know, oftentimes they're like, oh, say so and so girl pop artist will, you know, release a song and it'll be like very clearly like, oh, I'm so upset about the last relationship I was in. I hate you so much. And then the video will be like, oh, we're zombies. And we're zombies attacking the earth. And it's like nothing to do anything with the lyrics whatsoever. And nobody cares. Nobody cares. Like, it's that afterthought. Look, oh, well, we got a hit song on our hands here. We got a hit song on our hands. So, like, what do we do with it? Well, let's throw in zombies and see. Maybe it'll be a hit video, too. It's like what's the word? Edit me here, please.
But let me add while you're thinking about it. Way back in the 80s, James Brown was talking about music videos. He said, if you're singing a love song and you show a video of a guy building a house, it's going to come back to haunt you. You can't get away with it.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's just a weakness. It shows a weakness where it's like, no, like, I'm not saying nobody cares about art. There's millions of us out there that care about art. Hello, everyone that cares about art. It's just that there seems to be in the audience world that, like, so few people care to invest, care to respect, care to push for art that has actual direction and attention and like cognitive flow. Like everything's kind of washed up right now. But sorry, that's me just being an old man reading the paper in the morning, being like, America's going to hell.
Well, I certainly have thoughts on that too. You know, I think when you go back, you know, to my personal golden age of music in the 60s and 70s, music business was always a hellhole, but there were people at the labels who loved music and cared about presenting quality music.
That must have been something.
Yeah, it was. And now I don't think you have that at all. I think what's left of the record labels, to them it's like the factory line at the Ford factory.
Zeros and ones.
Yeah. But, you know, what you were talking about, you know, how they do the videos, I have like a big problem with what happens these days with performance. Because, you know, I am a performance artist with my music. So the staging, the theater, the costuming, all of that is a way to express the meaning to the audience. You know, and when my group, the Imperial Orgy, came out, we were doing, you know, video projection with it, and it was all edited. It all meant something, or maybe had a second level of meaning. But now everybody has video, everybody has costuming, everybody has performance art. But it's all bullshit. It doesn't mean anything. And that trains the audience not to expect meaning. And so it degrades what I do because, suddenly I become a guy just doing crazy stuff, and people don't look for meaning in it. So I resent that a lot.
No, there is a lot of grooming there's a lot of grooming that goes on with media culture, and honestly, I think, and not to divulge, but I think that there's like for decades now that's been going on with regular media, the news. It was at one point the news where someone was just objectively saying what happened, and it wasn't like, oh, and go Libs and go Reds and go whatever. You know, it was just like, here's the news. I'm Walter Cronkite. You know, like it was the news. And now it's like all this posturing and all this like...
And personality. It's like the news show is this personality. And
It's like, oh, well, I want the cool, hip lesbian to deliver me my liberal news, or I want the very clearly heterosexual man to deliver me my conservative news. Like, it's such a shit show. They may as well be music videos. They're just creating an alternate reality for you to like fantasize about.
well, when I was a kid, editorial content was a clearly labeled thing separate from the news. Now it's all mixed together and people don't know the difference between editorial and news.
And with AI coming into the fold, like it's all, this is the beginning, brother. This is the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I had a daughter and I fear for the world. With all the technology and people are so easy to brainwash, I just don't see how's
it going to work out? How's it going to work out?
Being into some kind of completely controlled thing. But anyways, what's the title of the album this is from?
The album is called Tamer Animals, and it's a fantastic album, and I would highly recommend anyone to look it up, or to look up anything that Other Lives have ever done. They're so good. You know, if they went on the road with Radiohead, they must be good. So they're really quite good, and I just found this music video particularly profound. But
yeah, and that's one of the things we do on my channel is urge people to check out deeper some of these artists that might not be high profile, but are still, I mean, these days, if you want great art, you have to look under the surface pretty much. Well, thank you again, Will, for doing this with me, and thank you folks for coming. Please like and subscribe, and hope to see you soon.
cheers.
Very cool.
Thanks, man.